Listen carefully, because this case starts with a sound. Paper turning, a match striking, and a man whispering, like he's afraid the walls can hear him. If you draw the line again, the city will forget you. My name doesn't matter. Not yet. What matters is this. I investigate stories that hide inside old records, and inside people who don't want to remember. And in the winter of 2025, I found a reference to a map that should not exist. A map of Lisbon, dated 1893. No author listed, no publisher, no catalog number. Just one sentence typed on a brittle card. Lisboa, planta reservada, 1893. Reserved, like it was dangerous, or like it was alive. I work with archives, so I've learned a simple rule. When something is labeled reserved, it's never for your protection, it's for theirs. Before this goes any further, hear this clearly. This is a fictional story, a narrated mystery, an audio drama told as an investigation. But the moment you accept that, I want you to ask yourself a question. Why does it feel like it could be real? The first time I saw the reference, I didn't even believe it. One line, one entry. Planta reservada, Lisboa, 1893. Condition, unstable. Unstable. Maps don't have moods. Paper doesn't misbehave. So I did what every investigator does when reality gives a strange word. I followed it. The record pointed to a private collection. I contacted the curator. A polite voice. Careful, too careful. He said the same thing 3 times in 3 different ways. I quote, "We have no such item. We have never had such item. And if we did, it would not be accessible." That should have ended it. Except he made one mistake. At the end of the call, he exhaled and said very softly, "Please stop asking about 1893. 3 days later, a package arrived at my office. No return address, no note. Inside, a single sheet, a photograph of a map. And in the center of Lisbon, there was an area outlined in thick ink, not shaded, not labeled, just outlined, like a wound marked with a pen, and under it, a word written in careful handwriting, APAGAR, erase. I zoomed in until the paper grain looked like sand. The outline didn't match any district name I recognized. It looked like a deliberate cut. A section of city selected the way you select text on a screen to delete it. And then I noticed the stamp, Oficina Mendonça, a print shop that, according to official history, never printed maps. I went looking. The shop used to be near the river. Now it sells wine and postcards. I walked in. I asked politely, "Do you know anything about Oficina Mendonça?" The woman shook her head. But an older man stocking shelves paused. He didn't look at me. He looked past me, and he said, "My grandmother used to spit when she heard that name." I asked him why. He swallowed. Then he said, "Because they printed things that made people disappear. Folklore is often a warning, disguised as a joke." I asked him if there were any old records. He said no. But as I turned to leave, he called me back, quietly. He leaned closer and whispered, "If you're looking for the map, don't look for paper." I frowned. What should I look for? He hesitated. Then he told me, "Look for what the paper is trying to hide." That night I realized the word unstable made sense. Not because the paper was damaged, because the information was. The next week I found the name of a man linked to 1893, a surveyor, Thomas Vale, and next to it the 3 words. Second draft burned. Burned. I tracked down a handwritten letter. The seller didn't publish the full text. Just a description. Letter from TV 1893 mentions the outline and the second city. Second city. I bought the letter. It arrived folded, sealed, smelling faintly of smoke. It described a commission, a private request, to draw Lisbon as it truly is, not as it appears, as it truly is. It called the outlined area the blank quarter, a quarter of Lisbon where streets exist on some maps and do not exist on others, a place where houses are counted in tax ledgers, but cannot be found by walking. I traced the outline digitally. It almost matched modern Lisbon, like it wanted to fit but refused. The outline hovered between streets, cutting through blocks, except one place. a dead-end alley near the river. An alley that, on one utility map, had no name, just a blank. At 2:17 a.m., I went there. Yes, at night. Because if a city is hiding something, it hides it better in daylight. The alley smelled like wet stone. The air was colder than it should have been, and the streetlight above the entrance flickered, not randomly but rhythmically, like a pulse. I walked in. 10 steps. 20. My footsteps sounded wrong, too loud. Then I saw something on the ground. Chalk. A line of chalk running along the stones, and beside it, APAGAR. Erase. My phone lost signal. Not one bar. Nothing. I kept walking. At the end of the alley there was a metal door. No handle, no lock. In the center, someone had etched a small compass rose, and under it, a date. 1893. I shouldn't have touched it, but I did. My fingertips rested on the cold metal, and the street behind me went quiet. Quiet like the world had been muted. And in that silence I heard something else. Paper, turning, right behind the door. I pressed my ear to the metal. Then, a whisper, not a voice, many voices, overlapping, and among them, one sentence rose above the rest. If you draw the line again. I stepped back, breathing fast. On the wall beside the door, there were scratches, hundreds of them, tallies, like someone counted days or disappearances. And at the bottom, carved deeper than the others, a name, Tomei's Vale. I left the alley fast, too fast. My phone regained signal instantly, and a notification popped up, a photo sent to me. It was the same map photograph, except it had changed. The outline was still there, but now there was something inside it, a small handwritten label, 2 words, "You are here." I laid the letter on my desk. I stared at the photograph, and I asked the question that ruins lives. What happens if you draw the line again? I began tracing the outline digitally, and as I drew the line, my screen flickered. A new layer appeared beneath my trace, a grid of streets, faint, old, not matching modern Lisbon, like a second city, bleeding through, and right in the center of that ghost grid, a label typed in a font that did not exist in 1893. 2 words, "Not for you." I stopped drawing. In the silence of my office, I heard paper turning again. Not in my memory, in my room, behind me. I turned, nothing. Then I noticed something on the photograph itself, a new mark, a small handwritten arrow pointing to the river, and next to it, a coordinate and a date. 1894, a part 2, the coordinate under the river.